A man doesn't chase because he sees a pretty face. He chases because something in him feels stirred. Attraction might catch his attention, but emotion captures his effort. You see, physical beauty can make him look twice, but emotional impact makes him remember. What really awakens his pursuit is not what he sees, but what he experiences when he's with her. It's when he feels a spark of admiration, curiosity, or inspiration that he can't quite explain. That's when she stops being another person he met and becomes the person he can't stop thinking about. When a woman evokes emotion beyond the surface, she becomes unforgettable. It's the way she listens, not just to reply, but to understand. It's the warmth in her presence that makes a man want to lean closer. It's the quiet confidence she carries, that rare blend of ease and intrigue that makes him want to know more. In those moments, he doesn't think, I should chase her. He just feels drawn, almost compelled. Because for men, real pursuit isn't logical, it's emotional. He's not chasing to win. He's chasing to feel again what he felt in her presence. Most women are taught to think that men chase what they can't have, but that's not entirely true. Men chase what they can't forget. And what they can't forget is a feeling, something alive, something genuine, something that pulls them out of autopilot. A woman who gives him that experience stands out not because she tries to impress, but because she allows herself to be authentic. She's playful without pretending, confident without arrogance, soft without being passive. She doesn't try to make him feel anything. She simply shows up as herself. And that creates a feeling no strategy can manufacture. When a man meets a woman who radiates that emotional depth, he starts to feel safe exploring his own. She becomes a mirror to his better self. Around her, he laughs more easily, listens more deeply, and finds himself wanting to show up differently. And that's the secret to real attraction. She doesn't chase validation, she invites connection. He senses that difference instantly. When she speaks, it's not about proving her worth. It's about sharing her world. She talks with passion about things she loves, and suddenly he's leaning in, curious, drawn not to her words but to her energy. In a world where so many interactions are transactional, where people try to impress or outshine, emotional authenticity is magnetic. A man can meet 10 women who look amazing, but the one who leaves him feeling something, that's the one who lingers in his mind. That's the one he finds himself wanting to text, to see again, to learn more about. Because when a woman stirs a man's emotions, she awakens his desire not just for her, but for the experience of being with her. And that experience becomes addictive. Think about it. Chase only happens when there's movement inside him. When she evokes curiosity, admiration, or joy, he naturally moves toward her. When she's emotionally alive, she creates space for him to feel alive too. That's what he's chasing. Not the person, but the feeling she creates in him. So, when a woman asks why men don't chase anymore, the answer is simple: they chase when they feel. And for that to happen, she doesn't need to play games or hide who she is. She just needs to show up in a way that is real, present, and emotionally awake. That's what transforms attraction into pursuit. Men don't chase what's always available, they chase what feels rare. Not rare in the sense of unattainable, but rare in the sense of valuable. When a woman's life is already full, when she has passions, priorities, and purpose, her presence carries weight. Her attention means something. A man senses that immediately. He feels that she's not sitting around waiting for someone to give her meaning. She already has one. And that subtle unavailability, that energy of a woman who values her time, creates an instinctive pull. There's a fine difference between playing hard to get and being hard to earn. Playing hard to get is performative. It's about withholding affection to gain power. But being hard to earn is natural. It's what happens when a woman's life is already rich, and she simply doesn't rearrange it for someone she barely knows. She doesn't ignore him. She just doesn't rush. That pause, that space between the interaction builds anticipation. It allows the man to step forward, to invest. When he has to invest, he values more deeply what he's pursuing. A woman who is subtly unavailable communicates something powerful without words. I am complete on my own. That message doesn't push a man away, it invites him to rise. It tells him that if he wants a place in her life, it must be earned through consistency, effort, and sincerity. This dynamic doesn't create a game, it creates respect. Because what men truly respect is a woman who doesn't give away her time, energy, or emotional intimacy too easily. When she responds to his messages with warmth but doesn't abandon her plans, when she shows interest but still prioritizes her goals, it sends a signal. It tells him that she's not looking for someone to complete her, but for someone who can complement her. That shift in energy makes a man want to show up differently. He starts to ask himself, what can I bring to her life? Instead of, how quickly can I have her? The moment he starts thinking about contribution instead of conquest, the chase transforms. It's no longer about winning her, it's about earning her. This is why the most magnetic women are not the ones who are constantly available. They're the ones who seem to have a life that's already in motion. Their days are full of things that matter to them: friends, passions, routines, a sense of direction. When a man enters that world, he doesn't want to interrupt it. He wants to be invited into it. That's what keeps him chasing. He wants to feel chosen by someone who didn't need to choose him. In this space, mystery naturally emerges, not because she hides who she is, but because she's not always there. She's not constantly online, constantly responding, constantly adjusting herself to fit his rhythm. Her rhythm already exists, and he feels that. The more she stays anchored in her world, the more he wants to be a part of it. Because men don't value what they can predict, they value what feels alive, evolving, and self-contained. A woman who is subtly unavailable invites curiosity without manipulation. She creates emotional tension, the good kind, the kind that makes a man think about her in the quiet moments. He wonders what she's doing, what she's thinking, who she's becoming. And that wondering is the root of pursuit. It's not about creating distance for attention. It's about living authentically and letting him earn the right to step closer. When she carries that self-assured energy, she doesn't chase love, she attracts it. She doesn't demand effort, she inspires it. Her unavailability isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's the understanding that her energy is precious and that whoever gets close to her must be ready to value it. And that's when men start chasing, not out of ego, but out of admiration for a woman who knows her worth without ever needing to announce it. There's something magnetic about a woman who doesn't perform confidence, but embodies it. You can feel it the moment she walks into a room, not because she's loud, not because she demands attention, but because she's completely at ease in her own skin. There's no pretense, no overcompensation, no nervous need to be liked. That kind of authenticity creates a gravitational pull that no game or tactic can replace. Men can sense when a woman's energy comes from wholeness rather than from wanting to be chosen, and that difference changes everything. Many women are told to act confident, to project it, to appear in control. But that kind of confidence often feels like armor. Beautiful, polished, but heavy. True confidence is lighter. It's soft, playful, and unguarded. It doesn't need to prove anything. It says, I'm comfortable being seen, but I'm also comfortable not being understood right away. That's the energy that makes a man feel drawn in because it's not trying to get him. It's simply being. When a woman rests in that space, she becomes magnetic without effort. Men are incredibly sensitive to energy. They can tell when someone's laughing to please them versus when she's laughing because she's genuinely amused. They can sense when a compliment is real or when it's bait. Authenticity hits differently. It disarms them. It invites them to be real too. When a man senses that he doesn't have to perform to earn her approval, he relaxes. And ironically, that's when connection deepens, because attraction doesn't grow in performance. It grows in presence. When a woman is genuinely confident, She doesn't seek reassurance from his attention. She enjoys his presence, but she's not defined by it. She's not measuring her worth based on his response. That freedom creates emotional safety for both people. He feels no pressure to constantly prove himself, and she feels no anxiety about losing him. It's a connection born out of choice, not fear. And that's the kind of space where a man naturally wants to pursue. Because chasing someone who is grounded in herself feels exciting. It feels meaningful. Authentic feminine energy has a rhythm to it. It moves between warmth and independence effortlessly. She can be soft and nurturing one moment, witty and teasing the next, then quietly introspective. This range fascinates a man because it reflects emotional depth. It reminds him that he's engaging with someone complex, alive, and unpredictable. A woman who owns her emotions instead of suppressing them becomes vibrant. Her presence doesn't need to perform, it expresses. And that authenticity keeps him curious. When she's not performing, she also sets a powerful tone for how she's treated. She doesn't chase attention, so she doesn't tolerate being an option. She's not cold about it, she's just clear. That clarity teaches him that she's not here for empty validation, she's here for real connection. And that's when he begins to show up with more intention. He listens differently, he speaks with more thought. He starts to care how he makes her feel, because he realizes she's not impressed by effort alone. She's moved by sincerity. It's in the small moments where this energy shines the most. The way she looks at him when he talks, genuinely curious but not hypnotized. The way she can make fun of herself, revealing that she doesn't take life too seriously. The way she can walk away when something doesn't align, not from bitterness but from peace. These moments leave a lasting impression because they show a woman who isn't chasing significance. She already lives in it. Men don't chase a woman who's pretending to be confident. They chase the one who's anchored in it. Because her authenticity makes every interaction feel real. It allows them to drop the masks, to meet each other as humans rather than roles. That's the moment the chase stops being about conquest and becomes about connection. He doesn't want to win her. He wants to understand her. And that shift only happens when her confidence is not a performance, but a presence. Curiosity is the quiet force that fuels pursuit. A man doesn't chase what he fully understands. He chases what leaves him slightly off balance, intrigued, and wanting more. When a woman reveals just enough to spark his imagination, but holds back enough to keep him guessing, she creates a kind of emotional tension that draws him in. It's not about playing games or hiding who she is. It's about allowing space for discovery. Because when everything is laid bare too soon, there's nothing left to explore. Mystery is what gives connection room to breathe. A woman who embodies mystery doesn't do it through silence or detachment. She does it through contrast. She can be open and warm one moment, then composed and self-contained the next. She laughs easily, but when she's serious, her depth catches him off guard. She listens attentively, but there's always something in her eyes that seems to be holding a private thought, a secret world he wants to enter. That balance keeps a man engaged because it creates rhythm in the interaction. Light and shadow, approach and retreat, revelation and restraint. When she shares her thoughts, she doesn't tell her entire story in one sitting. She gives him pieces, stories, glimpses, hints of who she is and where she's been. Each moment feels real but incomplete, leaving him wanting to know more. That's the art of emotional pacing. It's not withholding, it's unfolding. Just like a great book, she lets him turn the pages at a natural rhythm. And the beauty of that is it keeps him emotionally invested, not just interested. Men chase when they feel there's more to uncover. It's not only about physical attraction, it's about the experience of discovery. When he senses that each encounter brings out a new layer of her personality, her humor, her intelligence, her compassion, her edge, he feels alive. Because she's not predictable, and that unpredictability keeps him alert. Predictability might feel safe, but mystery feels magnetic. It makes him wonder what version of her he'll meet next, and that keeps his attention locked in. This doesn't mean she hides her vulnerability or pretends to be something she's not. In fact, vulnerability makes mystery even more powerful. When she allows glimpses of her softness, but doesn't make it her whole identity, when she reveals her strength, but doesn't flaunt it, she creates contrast. It's that contrast that keeps a man emotionally engaged. He doesn't just see her as one thing, he sees her as a living, evolving person, someone who feels, grows, and changes, someone who could surprise him. Mystery also thrives in space. When she doesn't rush to fill every silence or constantly seek validation through reassurance, she communicates emotional confidence. She's not afraid to let moments breathe. That quietness becomes alluring because it allows him to project his own curiosity into the space she leaves. It makes him lean in, not because she's distant, but because she's calm in her completeness. The less she tries to control the outcome, the more natural the chase becomes. When a woman lives a life that's full and self-driven, mystery happens organically. Her world has depth, passions, friends, experiences he's not yet part of. He wants to step into it, to understand what lights her up, to see the parts of her that exist outside of him. That's when pursuit takes on meaning. He's not chasing her approval, he's chasing the connection to something vibrant and real. Mystery isn't about being complicated, it's about being layered. It's about letting a man earn the right to see deeper parts of you. Each moment he gets closer, he feels a sense of progress, of privilege, and that's the essence of pursuit, not the need to possess, but the desire to discover. When she masters that dance of openness and reserve, warmth and self-possession, she doesn't need to chase a man's attention. He chases hers because every time he's with her, he feels like he's learning a little more about someone extraordinary. And yet, he knows he still hasn't seen it all. Respect is the foundation of every genuine chase. A man may be drawn by attraction, but he stays and pursues when respect enters the picture. Without it, desire fades as quickly as it sparks. Respect isn't something demanded or declared. It's earned through self-value, through boundaries, through the quiet dignity of how a woman carries herself. When a man sees that a woman knows her worth, not in an arrogant way, but in a grounded one, he can't help but look at her differently. She becomes someone he doesn't want to just have, she becomes someone he wants to deserve. A woman who commands respect does it subtly. It's in how she says no without apology. It's in how she expresses her needs without fear of being too much. It's in how she doesn't tolerate inconsistency or half-hearted effort disguised as interest. She's warm, but she's not accommodating to the point of self-betrayal. She can be understanding without being a doormat, kind without being naive. That balance between compassion and clarity tells a man she's not afraid of losing him because she's already chosen herself. And that's when he starts to take her seriously. When a man respects a woman, everything about his pursuit changes. He doesn't rush, because he knows rushing could risk something meaningful. He becomes thoughtful with his words, intentional with his actions. Respect makes him consider her, not just want her. It brings out the best version of him, the version that wants to step up, to match her standard. A woman's energy sets the tone, and when her energy communicates that she values herself, he mirrors that by valuing her more deeply. But respect isn't built on walls, it's built on consistency. It's in the way she treats herself day to day, not just in how she reacts to him. When she takes care of her emotional space, when she doesn't let temporary affection make her forget long-term alignment, she's showing him that her love is selective. She doesn't fall for charm, she responds to character. She's not impressed by what he says when everything is easy. She notices how he shows up when things aren't. That quiet discernment makes a man realize that winning her heart means showing up as a man of integrity. There's also a different kind of attraction that comes from respect. It's not loud or dramatic. It's steady and powerful. It makes a man want to protect, not possess. It makes him curious, not controlling. He starts to see her not as a challenge to conquer, but as a woman to grow with. Because when he feels respected by her and simultaneously inspired to earn her respect, that's when the dynamic becomes alive. It's not just chemistry, it's admiration. Men don't chase women they pity, and they don't chase women they can control. They chase women they admire, and admiration comes from seeing strength, grace, and depth coexisting in one person. A woman who can stand her ground while still leading with kindness becomes unforgettable. Her standards are not rules, they're reflections of her self-worth. And those standards are what make him realize that being with her is a privilege, not an entitlement. The beauty of this kind of respect is that it doesn't create distance, it creates depth. When she respects herself, she teaches him how to treat her without ever having to lecture. He senses her boundaries through her energy, her choices, her silence when words aren't necessary. She doesn't chase answers or force clarity. She steps back when effort isn't reciprocated, trusting that what's real will reveal itself. And in doing so, she separates herself from everyone else. That's when the chase transforms. It's no longer about attraction alone. It's about admiration. He chases because he wants to rise to meet her. Because deep down, men don't fall in love with what they can easily have. They fall in love with what challenges them to be better. And respect, her respect for herself and his growing respect for her, is the very thing that makes that transformation possible. The most powerful chase doesn't come from excitement alone. It comes from the balance of safety and challenge. When a woman can make a man feel emotionally secure while also inspiring him to grow, she awakens something rare inside him. She becomes both comfort and catalyst, a space where he can exhale and a mirror that calls him to rise. This combination is magnetic because it satisfies two primal needs in a man: the desire to feel accepted and the desire to evolve. When those two needs meet in the same person, the pursuit becomes deeply emotional rather than just physical. Men are drawn to women who create emotional safety because safety allows them to open up. It gives them permission to let down their guard, to express, to be vulnerable in ways they rarely are. A woman who listens without judgment, who doesn't use his honesty against him, becomes a refuge in a world that often expects men to be unshakable. Around her, he doesn't have to perform. He feels seen, not sized up. That sense of peace makes him want to be near her. But safety alone isn't enough, because without challenge, the relationship loses its edge. What keeps the energy alive is the gentle tension between comfort and growth. Challenge, when it's rooted in respect, doesn't mean confrontation. It means she holds him to a standard that brings out his best self. She doesn't let him get complacent. She inspires him to show up fully. She encourages his ambition, not by pushing, but by believing in him. And when he senses that belief, it ignites something inside. He starts wanting to be the man she already sees in him. That's the kind of motivation that turns attraction into devotion. The chase, then, becomes less about pursuit and more about evolution. He's not just chasing her attention anymore. He's chasing the feeling of who he is when he's with her. She challenges his ego without shaming it. She calls out his avoidance with compassion, not criticism. She asks for honesty, but she gives it too. And because she's both nurturing and firm, she creates polarity, a dance between tenderness and strength that keeps connection alive. Men crave that polarity. Too much safety can make things predictable. Too much challenge can make things exhausting. But the woman who knows how to blend both becomes unforgettable. She can be soft when he needs understanding and bold when he needs direction. She doesn't fear his intensity, she meets it with her own depth. She doesn't shrink to make him feel bigger, and she doesn't overpower to prove her worth. She simply holds her ground, and in that he finds both peace and excitement. When a man feels safe, he trusts. When he feels challenged, he grows. The woman who can create both experiences becomes irreplaceable because she makes him feel something few ever do, alive and anchored at the same time. It's the paradox that keeps him chasing, not to win her, but to keep earning the connection that constantly refines him. Around her, he becomes more open, more disciplined, more emotionally attuned. He wants to protect the bond, to nurture it, because it feels like home, yet never stops expanding. This dynamic doesn't come from strategy, it comes from emotional maturity. A woman can only offer that kind of space when she's done her own inner work, when she knows how to balance her softness with her strength. Her grounded energy gives him the courage to show his vulnerability, and her steady standards remind him not to take her for granted. That's when a man realizes he's not chasing her out of desire alone. He's chasing what she brings out in him. And that is the moment he stops seeing her as someone to impress and starts seeing her as someone to grow with. Because men don't truly chase perfection, they chase the woman who makes them feel like becoming better men.